Welcome, guys, to another uh, research methodology lesson. That is episode number 2. And please don't forget to contact us if you need any help with your academic work. Um, in today's lesson, we're going to look at sampling techniques. And I hope that if you are embarking on your research journey, you need to know what sampling techniques are you going to employ in your study. So, in the previous lesson, we talked about how to come up with a sample size using a formula. Now we are moving forward to see how we can sample, given that we already know the sample size we want. So, obviously, sampling techniques. This sampling is just the process of selecting a sample or a subset from a larger population for research or analysis purposes. If you remember in the last lesson, I talked about suppose in ABC EPA there are 5,000 dairy farmers. Now you want to do a survey to assess a certain thing, but you cannot go there and start to interview 5,000 farmers. That will be a lot and it will consume a lot of time. So you just need a proportion of the dairy farmers, the, and that number will represent the 5,000 dairy farmers. So that's what we call a sample. So, what are some of the types of sampling techniques you can employ? And remember, your supervisors would like to know a sample technique or sampling technique and why did you choose to use that sampling method. So number one, we have a random sampling, and if you choose random sampling, the best answer you can give there is like maybe you just want each member of the population uh, to have an equal chance of being selected. Now, how do we come up with the random sampling? They might ask you, so how did you do it? Remember, last time we used a sample size of 90 farmers. Now, let's say you want to choose 90 farmers using random sampling. How are we going to use it? So, you can use a random number generator, and you can also use a table of random numbers. So, we're going to talk about this in the next lesson. So, we'll talk in details how we can use the random table random numbers and the random number generator. So, I hope we'll keep you posted. So let's go to the second sampling technique. We have a stratified sampling. So in this sampling method, you need to divide the population into subgroups or strata based on certain uh, characteristics. So then you randomly select samples from each stratum in proportion to the population. For example, you have to divide farmers based on their crop preferences, rice. If you have wheat farmers, you have maize, then you select from each stratum. Now, those that are familiar with these sampling techniques, for example, we talked about in the EPA, you want to do the sampling using stratified. You can divide the population into groups depending on the certain characteristics. So after dividing them, then you can go into each group. Then you choose the number you want from that strata. So remember, each the number you select from each stratum should be proportional to the population, the whole population. So this we call stratified sampling. So we're going to explain in details in the next lesson on how you're going to do. If you choose stratified, how we're going to do it. So we're going to use examples on a certain topic and objectives, whatever. Let's go to number 3. So we have systematic sampling. This is simple. For you just select every member from a list of the population. So it requires a random start to maintain randomness. Now, example, listing all farmers in each village and selecting every 10th farmer from the list. Tikamati systematic tunena kuti of course imaoneka ngati ndiyophweka komano maybe it just demand you kuti ukhale ndi nthawi yolemba mafamasi mwachisanzo tifuna sample size zathu tingonena kuti ndi 100 farmers then tindi maybe 5 villages mu EPA ndoti mu 5 villages nditi tikuza kunena kuti let's say kuti tingufuna muzi unalonse upange contribute 20 farmers mu study yathu, so alimi 20 mu each village tiyatenga bwanji tingopita ndikumangosonya kuti ndikufuna uyu no, so you can use the systematic. So how are you going to do it? So you are going to list mulemba names of all farmers in that village per list. Ntamukalemba muziwerenga like 1 pakana 10 ndoti mulimi wina aliyense amene wapezeka pa number 10 muzimutenga ngati participant 1. So that's how, for example, if you have a list of 2,000 farmers in a village, ndoti muziwerenga kuyambira 1 pakana 10 wachi number 10 muzimpanga pick kana muzipitiza 11 mpakana pa 20 ndoti wachi number 10 amene mutenga pakana 20 farmers akwane. So you're going to do this in the 5 villages mpakana mukhale ndi participant 100. That's it. Let's go about cluster sampling. You divide the population into clusters, for example, into villages, like what I said, like you want to 100 farmers in an EPA. So you can just go into the EPA because within the EPAs there are villages. So you can divide the population into like villages. So say this village 1, village 2, village 3, village 4, village 5. So from those villages you can choose all the members and include them in your sample. Next we have convenience sampling, and it involves selecting the most readily available members of the population, although it may lead to biased results and lack of representativeness. Now if you look at the example, say you are interviewing farmers who attend a particular agriculture event in the ABC extension area. Now let's go back to the convenience. It involves selecting members of the population amene ali opezeka pa nthawi imene mapita ku study area yanu. Okay, let's say kuti kunali maybe a certain organization imapanga ma trainings kwa alimi 500. So ma trainings atata iniyo mufuna mukafuse mukapange survey kuti alimi aja how effective was the training. So now mwina mwangukumana ndi alimi mwina 10 like convenience mutapita kumalo kuja mwina the rest abwera mmakwawo. So you just need to interview these 10 farmers, okay, because you found them in a convenient way. So you interview them and in your mind you don't kuti zimene tayankhira anthu 10 hours ibanga represent those 500 farmers who attended the training. So that's what we call convenience sampling. Komano tunena kuti ikuza kupanga ready to bias results chifukwa sizingakhale represent anthu like all the population. So yeah, for most of you I don't know, but you don't need to choose convenience sampling. You can choose the systematic and the random sampling, so that you should have better results. Now let's look at what are the factors affecting sampling technique. Number 1, sample size. So remember, the larger the sample, so it also determine your accurate results. So the more the accurate results, so at least make sure you have a larger sample size. Number two, have population of variability. Now, if you see that within a population there are a lot of variability, then you should consider having a large sample. That's it. Time and resources, you need to consider the available time and the budget for the study. So if you have enough time, if you have enough resources, then you can consider having a larger sample. But if you see that you have sufficient resources, then you can opt for a smaller sample size. That's why most of supervisors or lecturers, they ask you why did you choose that sample size. If your sample size is small, you need to give some of these reasons that maybe there were minimal variability within the population. That's why you choose a smaller sample. If you choose a larger sample, you can give them reasons like there was a higher variability within the population, or maybe I had enough time and enough resources, so that's why I had the large sample, you see. So these are the factors that can affect sampling techniques. So what are the advantages of sampling techniques? Why should we use them in our research study? So the first one is cost effective and also save time, and it allows for accurate estimation and the generalization to the larger population, and also it reduces the burden of data collection and analysis. So if you have if you use the good sampling technique, it also reduces the burden and how you collect the data or how you analyze, because you know when you have the exact sample size you intended to have during your research study. Well, guys, this marks the end of the lesson, and I hope that as you are embarking on a research journey, you can choose different sampling techniques. So whichever suits you, you can include it. There was purposive sampling, of course I didn't include it, but you also can use it. Maybe we'll explain it in the next lesson. Thank you for the attention, and if you need any help, please don't hesitate to contact us on WhatsApp, and this is our number. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel so that you should be notified on our next videos. Thank you.